Hello and welcome. Today I was in court, and in recent days I have been handling some issues that concern divorce and abusive marriages and moving out and the children and the spouse. And I found out that there are some very fundamental things that I call basic that I believe people know, but I realize they don't. At the point at which they are finding out, things have gotten way out of hand. We're only then trying to catch up with a bad situation. So if we're not going to be trying to catch up with a bad situation, then there are some things you must know upfront, especially if you are in an abusive marriage. Let me start by saying it is not every marriage that is abusive. Every marriage has their issues, parties have their issues where they don't agree, where they are difficult. A is wondering why B is like this. B is wondering why A is like this. That's not an abusive marriage. An abusive marriage is one that tortures your mind and or your body. If it doesn't torture your mind and or your body, it's not an abusive marriage. I am also not one for people abandoning their marriages for flippant reasons. But when the health of an individual or of individuals are at stake, I advocate that you leave and that you leave fast. But if you're in an abusive marriage, please, before you get up and leave, I have 12 points here I want you to take to heart and give a lot of consideration. I want you to take these 12 things to heart and give it a lot of consideration. The first one is that if you are in a relationship where you're observing that your spouse has tendencies of being aggressive, the person doesn't have to have beaten you before you know the person has tendencies of being abusive. The person's body language lets you know that if you pass yourself one day, you will just receive left. You are seeing the signs, don't ignore it, and don't second guess yourself that maybe you are not seeing it well or maybe it won't happen. Once you begin to see the signs, please do not deceive yourself. Identify that the signs are there. But the first thing is not to move out. If usually these things happen early on in the marriage, my advice to the woman usually who is at the receiving end, not all the time, but 90 out of 100 times, the woman is at the receiving end of the physical abuse or the emotional abuse. Men are at the receiving end of emotional abuse about 25 to 30% of the time, but physical abuse, women are at the receiving end 90% of the times. So if you are at the receiving end of the abuse, the first thing I need to consider is that you should have only children that you can take care of alone. Don't have children with the aim that when you have a male child, this person will love you, or when you have a female child, this person will connect with you, or when you have more children, this person will. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Have children you can raise alone. If you know you can raise two children and manage it by yourself, do not have more than two. The person, even though the person keeps apologizing after every beating, do not have more than two children, because that is what you can sufficiently manage by yourself. Have only two children. That's the first lesson. The second lesson is that you should separate accounts. If you run a joint account with the person, you are financially strangulated if you have to leave. If you run a physical account with that person, if your monies are joint, either your business monies, either your salaries, either your gratuity and all of that, the day you have to leave, you are strangulated if you have to leave that person. So begin the steps of separating your money. Either you begin to put some money aside in your business, or you begin to, through a cooperative, move some money out. Anyhow you want to do it, begin to separate some monies from the person. Money is very, very important for independence. A person that does not have their own money, it doesn't know anything about independence. You must be able to control some money of your own. It is important for the concept of independence. The next thing is you need to begin to separate joint assets. Please, if you have built houses together, the ones that you have built together should only be the houses that connect you. No more common assets. No more buying shares in Mr. So and Mrs. So. No. Let it be bought separately. Stop joining assets. I'm saying these things because of the things we see in court. The other spouse will come and say, it belongs to me, it doesn't belong to the two of you.